Hey, what's going on, nation? So for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that I don't really make videos like this. I tend to stick to the tips and videos that are going to help you guys with your gym and your fitness lifestyle. I just think that trying to capitalize on other people's misfortune is a really bad idea. It's very low class, but I mean, it has been such a sad month in the bodybuilding world, and being a part of this world, I wanted to take some time to reflect on this and talk to you guys about some of the things that I think are happening that need to be changed. And the recent deaths of Rich Piana and Dallas McCarver, and even a buddy of mine, really kind of set a message home for me that the fitness industry is just really starting to go down this dark path that there's no turning back from. And what I mean by that is, it's like, every single day, people seem to want more and more and more. And every year that goes by, we go to bodybuilding shows like the Arnold Classic or the Olympia, and it's just like every dude is stepping on stage, and by the time they step off, they're just expected to get bigger and bigger and bigger every single year. And it's almost like the chains are off, People are doing whatever they can to reach that goal. And that's a very dangerous thought, Fitness is supposed to be about living a long, healthy life, looking good on the outside and on the inside. And unfortunately, if you start going down this path of competing and getting in the spotlight, and you want to be like a huge bodybuilder competing, in shows like the Arnold Classic or Mr. Olympia, or maybe you just want to be the biggest, most massive dude out there, it comes at a cost, and that cost is you kind of risk your health. I mean, you can be the best trainer in the world, and you can train thousands of people, and if they decide they want to do some drugs to get bigger, there is no safe way. It is a risk. You cannot foresee the future of what's going to happen, whether it's a month, a year, 5 years, 20 years. You just don't know how these things are going to affect you. And you also don't know, 100% what your genetic makeup is and what you're susceptible to. And so obviously you guys have heard the news. Rich Piana had recently passed away. I actually did get a chance to meet Rich Piana. My wife and I met him. We were going to Body Power in the UK. My buddy Reggie, Connor Murphy, my wife and I were all on the same plane. And when we got off to get our luggage, Rich Piana happened to be there. And I will say, we all met him and talked to him for a little bit. And he seemed like a really nice guy. The fact that he teaches things that's different than me doesn't mean I can't like him as a person. He seemed like a really chill dude. And it was really sad to hear that he had gone into a coma and then obviously recently passed away as of this week. But it's like, what would have happened, like the complications that he had. Obviously, we're not going to know 100%, what really happened until the coroner's report comes out, if they do decide to release that information. But you got to ask yourself a question. Rich Piana built his entire business off of being, the 5% crew and all that hype around the 5% crew. And you didn't have to be 5% natural to obviously like him and use his supplements, but that was kind of what he built his empire on. So think about this, guys. If you're starting social media now and you go down this road and you start to look a certain way because you have some help, because you're taking certain things, and you start to build this image, of yourself that people like, you're getting all kinds of attention, you're getting sponsorships, you're building a business, think about what it's going to take to now maintain that. Rich Piana is the face of the 5%. So he needs to stay 5% to keep that going. If he stopped being 5%, maybe he got smaller, maybe he started to lose some muscle mass, maybe certain things started to affect him, people would probably leave comments and be like, oh, you're not as big as you used to, or maybe, it would be kind of an internal struggle with him being like, I need to look a certain way to represent my business properly so I can keep making money, so I can have the lifestyle I want to live. Like, it's a lot more than just physical appearance. It starts to affect your entire life, everything around you. And even for people that aren't building a business, or aren't in the spotlight, or aren't, competing in shows. And this is where my friend comes into play. I have a friend who recently passed away a couple weeks ago. He had been struggling with cancer for a long time, and I've known him since I was about 15 years old. And I don't want to say his name out of respect for his family, so I'm just going to say my friend. So my friend, he had used drugs in the past to build the kind of physique that he liked just because he liked it. I think he did compete a few times, I'm not 100% sure, but still, he just liked to look a certain way, which is fine. It's your life, it's your body. But he ended up getting liver cancer. And for those of you who have seen videos where I've talked about the effects of using drugs, if you have any sort of genetic issue in your body, such as cells that can be cancerous, or if you have issues with your heart or anything, and if you take drugs, what happens is all of that gets increased tenfold, And so he had a really aggressive liver cancer that took him completely out. And he went to the hospital, went through radiation, and he was actually recovering. He was recovering from it. And when he got out of the hospital, he was good for a while. But but then what happened is he started going back on the drugs again because he wanted to look a certain way. And I feel like as soon as he did that, he kind of sealed his fate, unfortunately. And we will never know whether he would have completely recovered and lived a much longer, happier life, or if it would have come back, just because it's already in his system, and sometimes it does come back. But, taking the drugs definitely made his chances of it coming back a whole lot bigger. And then that's kind of playing into what I said before. There was a certain look that he liked to be, and if he wanted to get back there, he had to do certain things. And so you start to get into this cycle of you will never look the way you did unless you do the things that you were doing. And I feel like that's one of the biggest issues with the industry today, is that we expect so much from people. We expect, athletes to be ripped all the time, to be getting bigger all the time, to be lifting more weight every time they post a video. It's like people expect the impossible, and there's only one way to make the impossible happen. Even myself, I posted some videos a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I was leaning out for a photo shoot in Miami, and so I had dropped 8 or 9 pounds because I was doing a lot more running and I was trying to get as cut up as possible for this shoot, and as soon as a video comes out and people see me, they're like, you don't look as big, your chest is smaller, your traps are your biceps are smaller, and it's they don't know or care that I'm cutting for a shoot, but those comments, I mean, they sting, Nobody wants to hear in this industry, especially for men, that you look smaller, Even if it's not coming from a bad place, it's a mental thing. It's it's a trigger word, You look smaller, you don't look as good as you used to. And then, you just start to go down this cycle of wanting to impress all these people that are following you. And so this whole last couple weeks, especially with Dallas passing away as well, Dallas' situation, he collapsed on stage last year, That should have been a wake-up call, hey, you collapsed on stage, you're having some issues with your hat, let's rethink what's happening. And then obviously the report came out for Dallas that he had choked on food, but I think I was trying to find the exact information. It's not totally out there yet at the time I'm making this video right now, but it was basically that he had some sort of episode while he was eating, and they don't know exactly what caused that episode, but Dallas was still getting ready to compete on stage, so he was more than likely still doing the things that he was doing when he collapsed on stage last year. So the question now becomes would the episode that unfortunately caused his death still would have happened if he had taken last year as a wake-up call and maybe made some lifestyle changes? So we'll never know, and unfortunately it's very, very sad. Whether you like these people or not, there are people who do care about them. And Dallas, he had a girlfriend who's probably in just absolute misery right now, and our hearts go out to her. Obviously, Rich, same thing. His girlfriend is destroyed and she's falling apart and she needs all the help and support she can get. You got mothers that are losing sons, brothers that are losing brothers, sisters that are losing brothers, families that are losing loved ones. And the fitness industry, I feel, needs to really start to reflect on itself and reflect on the direction that it's going down. I mean, even Arnold Schwarzenegger himself has said that the fitness industry, especially the competing side, is going down a road that doesn't really have the look that it should. The fitness industry needs to stop rewarding excess. Needs to stop saying, yes, bigger, stronger, bigger, stronger, bigger, stronger, because what happens is months like this, where we have people who unfortunately pay the ultimate price, and are no longer with us. So what is my message to you guys out of all this? Well, my message to you is that you need to sit down and think long and hard about what you want to do or what you want to get out of fitness. Because as soon as you decide to go down this path, your fate is sealed. You will need to stay on that path. And if you think that gaining 100,000 Instagram followers is worth possibly shortening your lifespan or affecting your ability to have kids or any of these other issues that could come about, that's a real decision that you might not be thinking about right now. You might be watching this video and you could be 16, 17, 18 years old and you're just young and you think you're invincible. These are real things that you need to think about because it's going to greatly affect you and the people around you. Unfortunately for these three people who passed away in the last couple weeks, and these are only the three people that I know about. Think about all the people that you don't know about that are having the same issues and that are suffering. It is a real thing. It just happens to be that two really big names passed away within the same week, pretty much, So chances are that if you decide to start today, you're jumping into a roller coaster ride that you can't control. You're just going to have to hold on and wish for the best. And if you follow Rich or Dallas on social media, their friends and family, their loved ones, they're suffering right now. And if they've impacted your lives in any way, helped you reach your goals, got you started in fitness, whatever your story might be, go to those pages and leave those comments because I'm telling you, every little comment helps and it will really help the friends and family of these two guys cope with their loss because I'm sure that they're all suffering right now. And I just want to say one more thing. As your online trainer, it is my job to make sure that when you guys decide to get started in fitness, that fitness helps you live a longer, healthier life. And I just want to make sure that if you guys are watching this video, you do take the time to evaluate, what fitness means to you and make sure you're making the right decisions to ensure that you do live long and look great while you're doing all the things that you love. So lots of love out to these guys. I hope the friends and family definitely are able to cope with this and mourn their loss and be at peace. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you guys later.